The term Aboriginal encompasses both the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, who are the First Nations of Australia. The term Aboriginal inclusively embraces the diversity of over 500 nations, each with unique traditions, reflecting the vast cultural tapestry of Australia's First Peoples. There are over 250 distinct language groups among the Aboriginal peoples, each with its own cultural and social identity. These 250-plus language groups not only denote different dialects, but also carry distinct cultural narratives, kinship systems, and environmental knowledge passed down through generations. The concept of dreamtime or the dreaming is central to their spiritual beliefs, explaining creation, law, and the interconnectedness of all living things. Dreamtime stories, like the creation of the Great Barrier Reef by the rainbow serpent, illustrate the spiritual geography of Australia and the interdependence of life forms. The oldest continuously practiced culture in the world, with archaeological evidence suggesting a presence dating back over 65,000 years. Archaeological sites like Majid Baby in the Northern Territory confirm the deep roots of Aboriginal Australians, predating the Egyptian pyramids and Stonehenge. The Yolngu people from Arnhem Land have a complex system of songlines, mapping the land and serving as a form of oral history. Songlines, such as those of the Pitch and Chijara people, serve as mnemonic devices for navigating the land, encoding knowledge of stars, seasons, and resources. The Didgeridoo, a wind instrument, is traditionally associated with the Aboriginal culture of Northern Australia, particularly the Arnhem Land region. While the didgeridoo is globally synonymous with Australian Indigenous culture, its origins and traditional use are specific to certain regions, like Arnhem Land. The art of dot painting, although now iconic, is a relatively recent development in the long history of Indigenous Australian art. The stolen generations refer to the forced removal of Indigenous children from their families by the Australian government policies, which lasted until the late 20th century. The stolen generation's legacy is a somber reminder, with intergenerational trauma still felt today, but also a testament to the resilience of Indigenous families seeking reunion. The Mabo decision in 1992 recognized native title rights, overturning the doctrine of terra nullius, which had denied Indigenous land ownership. Mabo Day, celebrated on June 3rd, commemorates the legal victory that recognized native title, challenging the assumption that Australia was terra nullius when Europeans arrived. The Uluru Statement from the Heart in 2017 called for constitutional recognition and a voice to Parliament for Indigenous Australians. The Uluru Statement's call for a First Nations voice, embedded in the Constitution, seeks to give Indigenous Australians a formal say in laws affecting them. The Wandjina Wurrung paintings in the Kimberley region are significant spiritual depictions believed to bring rain. Wandjina Wurrung art, with their human-like faces and eyes that weep rain, highlights the intricate relationship between spirituality and the natural environment in the Kimberley. The concept of country goes beyond geography. It's a deep spiritual connection to the land, sea, and ancestors. Country is more than geography. It's a spiritual bond that includes the land, waterways, and ancestors, with responsibilities for its care handed down through song, dance, and ceremony. The boomerang, a curve-throwing tool, comes in various types, including returning and non-returning, used for hunting and sport. The kulamon is a versatile wooden container used for carrying food, water, or babies. The kulamon's shape and use vary across cultures, with some designed for cradling infants, reflecting the practicality and symbolism of everyday objects. The Ngarrara canvas, a massive collaborative artwork, was used as evidence in native title claims. The Ngarrara canvas, a 30-meter artwork, visually documents the land claim of the Ngarrara people, blending art and legal testimony. The Tiwi Islands, off the coast of the Northern Territory, have their unique cultural practices and language. The Tiwi Islands' unique blend of Roman Catholicism and traditional beliefs shows how Indigenous cultures adapt and incorporate external influences. The yarning circle is a traditional method of communication, fostering respectful discussion and sharing of stories. Yarning circles encourage dialogue based on mutual respect, embodying a cultural approach to decision-making and community building. The message stick was a form of communication between different tribes, allowing safe passage or conveying important messages. Message sticks, carved with symbolic markings, were honored by different clans as diplomatic passports, ensuring safe travel across territories. The dingo, although not native to Australia, has been part of Aboriginal culture for thousands of years after being introduced. Dingoes, despite being introduced around 4,000 years ago, have been integrated into Indigenous culture, featuring in stories and hunting practices. The practice of corroboree involves ceremonial dances and storytelling, often performed during significant cultural events. Corroborees often feature elaborate body painting and costumes, showcasing the artistic expression and cultural maintenance essential to Indigenous communities. The rainbow serpent is a major ancestral being in many creation stories across Australia. The rainbow serpent, present in various forms across Australia, symbolizes creation, fertility, and the life-giving properties of water. The Bora ring is a sacred site where young men undergo initiation ceremonies. Bora rings, marked by concentric circles, are sites for boys' initiation into adulthood, involving physical, spiritual, and cultural education. The song Solid Rock by Goanna, released in 1982, highlighted the dispossession of Indigenous lands. Ghana's Solid Rock raised awareness of land rights, resonating with the broader movement for Indigenous sovereignty. The Torres Strait Islander flag, designed by Bernard Namak, was first flown in 1992 and officially recognized in 1995. The Torres Strait Islander flag's blue represents the sea, symbolizing the importance of waterways to these communities. The red centers Uluru, Ayers Rock, and Katachi Judah, the Olgas, hold immense spiritual significance. Uluru's changing colors at sunrise and sunset deepen its spiritual significance, making it a pilgrimage site for many. The 1967 referendum saw over 90% of Australians vote to include Indigenous Australians in the national census and enable the Commonwealth to make laws for them. The 67 referendum's overwhelming support marked a turning point in public recognition of Indigenous rights and identity. The art of bark painting is a traditional form, especially among the Yolngu people. Bark paintings, like those from the Arnhem Land, are not just art but repositories of cultural history and spiritual teachings. The concept of kinship governs relationships, responsibilities, and marriage rules within communities. Kinship systems, such as those in the Arrernte culture, define relationships and roles, emphasizing collective responsibility and interconnectedness. The Ngarrindjeri people of South Australia are known for their intricate weaving and use of the bull kelp for water containers. The Ngarrindjeri women's weaving tradition uses natural materials, preserving ecological knowledge and cultural heritage. The Pintupi Nine, a group of Aborigines, emerged from the desert in 1984, having had little contact with Western society. The Pintupi Nine's return marked one of the last instances of first contact in modern history, illustrating the isolation of some desert communities. The Makarrata Commission, proposed in the Uluru Statement, aims to supervise agreements and truth-telling processes. Makarrata Commission envisions a process of reconciliation and healing through truth-telling and agreements, inspired by Indigenous peacemaking practices. The practice of fire stick farming was an ancient land management technique used for regeneration and hunting. Fire stick farming enhances biodiversity and prevents intense wildfires by controlled burning, demonstrating ancient land management wisdom. Fire stick farming illustrates how Indigenous Australians lived sustainably, rejuvenating the land and promoting species diversity. The Martu people in Western Australia have a rich tradition of desert survival and knowledge of bush tucker. Martu people's desert knowledge includes bush medicines and tracking skills, passed down through oral tradition and practical application. The concept of two-spirit acknowledging individuals with both male and female spirits exists in some Indigenous cultures. The song cycle of the Warumpi Band, particularly My Island Home, celebrates Indigenous identity and connection to land. My Island Home by Christine Anu became an anthem for Indigenous identity, expressing the longing for connection to one's ancestral land. The murnong, or yam daisy, was a staple food plant before European settlement. The yam daisy was crucial to pre-colonial agriculture, its loss contributing to nutritional changes in Indigenous communities. The 1938 Day of Mourning marked the 150th anniversary of British colonization, highlighting Indigenous struggles. The 1938 Day of Mourning was a powerful act of resistance and sorrow, occurring concurrently with Australia Day celebrations. The Wada Wurrung people of Victoria have a tradition of possum skin cloaks, each cloak telling the wearer's story. Possum skin cloaks, adorned with clan designs, serve as wearable genealogies and garments, embodying cultural identity. The Yirrkala bark petitions in 1963 were the first traditional documents recognized by the Australian Parliament. The Yirrkala bark petitions challenged the government over mining rights, setting a precedent for recognizing Indigenous customary law. The Gija people's Sarda Warmpa, Caterpillar, Dreaming is a key story in the Kimberley region. The Sari books, compiled after the Bringing Them Home report, expressed national remorse for the stolen generations. The Sari books compiled thousands of messages, expressing the nation's regret and empathy for the stolen generations, fostering healing. The Bardi-Jawi people of Western Australia have a rich fishing culture, utilizing dugout canoes. The Bardi-Jawi's dugout canoe usage showcases their seafaring skills and deep understanding of coastal ecosystems. The Royal Commission into Aboriginal Deaths in Custody, established in 1987, highlighted systemic issues. The Royal Commission's findings highlighted systemic failures leading to reforms but also underlining ongoing challenges in the justice system. The Ngunnawal people, custodians of the Canberra region, have a deep history tied to the land. The Ngunnawal people's custodianship of Canberra's land reminds us of the Indigenous history that predates the capital city's establishment. The Lockhart River Art Gang, a group of contemporary Indigenous artists, gained international recognition. The Lockhart River Art Gang's emergence demonstrates how art can be a powerful tool for cultural preservation and economic empowerment. The Lockhart River Art Gang's success challenges stereotypes, showcasing contemporary Indigenous art on the global stage. The Ngarara Canvas 2, another significant artwork, further supported native title claims in the Great Sandy Desert. The Ngarara Canvas 2, like its predecessor, is a visual testament to Indigenous Australians' connection to their ancestral lands. In conclusion, the rich cultural heritage and ongoing resilience of Australian Aboriginal peoples, who have stewarded the continent's lands for tens of thousands of years, serve as a profound reminder of the importance of respecting and learning from the world's oldest continuous culture.